Let's get an update now and cross to our reporter, Ayanda. Ayanda, I do believe that you've moved position slightly right now inside the venue where that manifesto will indeed be launched. What's happening there around you at this time?
Very good afternoon to you once again, Flo, and good afternoon to our viewers. Yes, we are now inside the main venue, and as you can see behind us, the stage has been set. In about 45 minutes or so, the leaders of the IFP, of course led by party president SABC, will be delivering the 2021 local government election manifesto, delivering the promises that the IFP is going to be making to the electorate. On this side, of course, is the seating. We already started to see a few of the invited guests and the leaders of the party that have started to trickle in through to the venue. Very, very important day for the IFP. As I said, today they have said they're going to be unpacking a people-orientated, solution-driven manifesto. And so to find out what this people-driven, people-orientated, solution-driven manifesto is and exactly what is the IFP promising the electorate this time around. Just some few facts before we speak to the party spokesperson, Mr. Mkhuleko Hlengwa. Of course, currently the IFP runs 13 municipalities here in the province of KwaZulu Natal, making a comeback in 2016. You remember that in 2011 the party suffered a major setback. That was after the split. Some party members then split, forming the National Freedom Party. Thereafter, the party went back to the ground, and over the years between 2011 and 2016, they managed to regain at least 5 municipalities that they'd lost in 2011 through by-elections. Come 2016, the party was back, and they managed to then take control of at least 13 municipalities across the province of KwaZulu Natal, and we've also seen them in the last election faring very well, where they were then able to regain that position as the official opposition here in the province of KwaZulu Natal. This year as well, the party has said that it's quite optimistic of how it is going to fare in this election, already saying that there are key municipalities that it's sure it's going to be able to regain control and also win over some of the municipalities that are run by its opposition, I would say the African National Congress. But to speak more about this plan that the IFP is going to be unpacking for South Africans today, let me speak now to the spokesperson of the party, Mr. Mkhuleko Hlengwa. Mr. Hlengwa, always a pleasure to speak to you.
Good afternoon to you and the viewers at home.
A people-orientated, solution-driven manifesto is what you are saying. You're going to be unpacking a 10-point manifesto. In the past, you focused on clean governance, on accountability. How different? What is different this time around from your previous manifestos, the promises that you've made to the electorate?
I hope I don't get in trouble with you momentarily. I'll take this off. Of course, it's a 10-point plan, and good governance is an integral part of any governance, particularly at local government level. But what is different now is that experience, of course, is hindsight, and it is the best sight. And so you will find that there is a radical shift to the powers and functions and responsibilities that we want to build into our municipalities as we govern, because we recognize that all development is local, and that's where the tar hits the road. And so it's very, very important, therefore, that we respond with agility to the collective needs and responsibilities of the people. That's the one aspect. Secondly, we do need to report back. As you were saying in your intro, we were given a mandate in municipalities in 2016. We are also in a cooperation in the city of Johannesburg. So we do need to tell South Africans and the electorate what we have done. And so that will also form a key feature of our manifesto. However, beyond that, we have what we may call a generic manifesto of local governance in general. But what we have done is that for each municipality we are very specific about the key focus areas, and this is where the people-oriented and solutions-driven agenda comes in, because our structures have engaged the electorate and they've given feedback to the election management committee and to the party in general in terms of the needs of the collective different areas that we have. And so that is what is different. So we are presenting an alternative plan and a roadmap to service delivery with a key focus on job creation, good governance, and the particular focus with women and youth. I'm sure you're going to hear those areas expressed quite profoundly this evening.
You've been moving around, and the voter registration weekend, in fact, we were with the party president, Mr. Velonkosini Hlabisa, engaging with locals. And clearly, people on the ground are not happy with service delivery in many, many areas, even in the municipalities that you yourself run. Let's speak, for example, of one municipality. When you speak of good governance, you've had challenges. Was it mostly challenges in terms of delivery or party problems within, struggling or jostling of oppositions? And I speak here about the Ngutu municipality, and I say this because it was one municipality that we went all out to regain control of, but again we've seen a number of challenges in that municipality, and the IFP struggling to run it properly.
Well, the IFP has not been struggling to run it properly. What has happened is that there's been elements of ill discipline, and so what we do not tolerate in the party is people who seek to define themselves, one, outside the party, and two, outside the mandate of the electorate which they've given to us. And at that point we will take decisive action and have changes. Nobody is tied to a position, because the people have voted for us on the basis of trust that we'll be able to deliver on the commitments that we've made. So in Ngutu we made changes precisely for that reason, that you had began having a runaway train of a mayor who has defined himself outside the collective. That is because as a party we are accountable to the electorate, but also because we're not afraid to take decisions. We've done the same in Umthonyaneni. There was changes there. We did changes at Nongoma, at Umtubatuba and Durban and so on. So at any time where the individuals are a risk to governance and they are a risk to service delivery, we will remove them without any hesitation.
Good, clean governance. What is also very important this time, particularly local government, is those that you're going to elect to stand for the party, your candidates. Speak to us about the criteria. Did it change this time around in terms of your selection? I know importantly, and I remember speaking to the Women's Brigade chairperson, Mampumzile Buthelezi, where she was saying that she's going to insist that this time that there's 50% representation of women who are going to be standing for the positions. What is the criteria? Because that's another challenge where people feel that leaders have been imposed on them. Speak to us about the criteria of the people that you've chosen to lead the respective wards.
Well, I can assure you the chairperson of the Women's Brigade was uncompromising in the list committee meetings with the National Secretary as well. They were quite emphatic about that, but also importantly, all of us were of that view, because we must ensure that the struggle of women is not just fought by women. It's a collective societal responsibility, and so their endeavors are our endeavors. On the criteria, there were changes in the sense that previously we have not interfered with ward councillor candidates and nominations because we have felt that they are of the popular vote. But we have felt as a party that where interventions are required, we will effect those. With individuals who have got a track record which is not desirable for service delivery and so on, we have made interventions in that regard. So there's been minimal changes there, but we have intervened. We have wanted to make sure that these are people of good standing. We wanted to make sure these people will be able to be responsive, and so of the 2,500 odd candidates that we are fielding in 105 municipalities, we are quite confident that it's men and women, young and old, who are going to give us the generational mix, the necessary skills, knowledge and expertise required to ensure functionality, effectiveness and service delivery. So we've been very thorough about it, even though we had a very limited time frame. But I want to give credit to the list committee. It did an exceptional job in actually going through each candidate. CVs had to be submitted, and of course the political oversight committee of the party continues to play an integral role even post-elections, and they will be having continuous assessments of all these candidates, and where changes are required they will be effective. So really the point we are trying to drive home at is that even if we have to recall a ward councillor and go to a by-election, that is a political risk we are prepared to take for so long as the people will not find themselves compromised with an individual who's not working for them. Accountability is very, very important for the IFP in these elections for service delivery and moving forward.
You're in control of municipalities that are largely in our rural areas, and the challenges there are many. A lot of people still without water, still without electricity, still without roads. Promises are being made that you are going to be delivering on these services, but some of them are not within they are not in the responsibility of the local government, of the municipalities. So in that situation then, and I know in some instances you've come into areas, Zululand is one area, the water challenge, where the municipality has said is going to work on providing water, but that is not within the competency of the municipality. How are you going to ensure that service delivery is then delivered to the people on the ground?
Well, we have been managing under the very severe constraints. You will recall that previously, and as things stand now, we have got a serious problem of provincial government interference and the abuse of the Section 139 interventions, particularly in this province, to further a political agenda. But even when that has been happening, we've been able to deliver. In the Zululand Umkhanyakude area, there is collaboration to ensure that water is provided, and we are going to be unpacking today also, amongst others, the need for a reconfiguration of the responsibilities and competencies of local government, because that is where the people are. The whole idea and notion that power must be centralized in Pretoria and then have a one-size-fits-all doesn't work. We need to have very focused, specific interventions which will give competencies. This just goes beyond the issue of water. It goes to policing, it goes to healthcare services, it goes to educational services, so even justice. So it is important that the parliamentary contingent now of the IFP begins presenting private members' bills where necessary in order for us to reconfigure local government. But even within those constraints, we fundamentally believe as the IFP in cooperative governance. It is now the responsibility and the conviction and political will of provincial government and national government that where a party that is not your party that is governing, you should not advance politics. This is about the people. So there has to be also a reconfiguration of the mentality and a paradigm shift in provincial and national government to understand that local government is a totally different ballgame where politics is secondary to the primary needs of the people. And so water as well, as far as we are concerned, is also an economic development enabler. And so it is very, very important that we focus on that, and that will be expressed tonight as well.
Speaking about the politics of local government, and I wonder whether or not you've even started this discussion. We know, as you spoke about, the relationship, or rather that there was a coalition in Gauteng, also here in the province of KwaZulu Natal. Should you not do as well as you predict in certain areas, and there is needs for you to work with other parties, have you decided yet which parties you might want to go into a coalition with?
We'll cross the bridge when we get to it. But what is important is that we are not going to compromise on finding partners who are competent and people who are of the conviction of service delivery. And so if we find ourselves in a situation where the agenda on the table is not about the people, the IFP will not be found there. We will consider all the options and all the avenues post-elections, but quite frankly, we're going for the whole 9 yards. We are not going into these elections to be half pregnant. We want to ensure that we win, because the cooperations and coalitions are a difficult reality to manage, and the jostling of ideas and powers eats away at the time and at the energy which should be spent on service delivery, and you're focusing on the politics. But be that as it may, we also believe that we have as a party by and large been able to manage the cooperations and coalitions to the best of our ability for the purposes of service delivery. So we are quite confident that our principles will not be compromised, and the fact that, of course, we've got experience now in cooperations and coalitions, we are best placed to be able to find the right partners for that agenda.
I cannot let you go before asking This question, Nkosi Mangosuthu Buthelezi, the founder and president emeritus of the party. We see this time around as well. Last year, the Babuvele Nkosini Hlabisi was elected as the president of the 2019 rather, as the president of the party. But again, this year, you've chosen to have the face of the president emeritus of the party. Why did you make that decision?
We're paying tribute to this great South African. When we went into the elections in 2016, he was still the president of the IFP, and so we are here to account on commitments of his era as the president of the IFP. And also because we had wanted to dedicate 2020 to Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, the year of the Prince, but of course COVID-19 made that impossible. And so the president of the IFP, in fact, Wab Hlabisa, was the one who said, no, let us, even though circumstances are as complex as they are, use 2021 and the local government elections to honor Prince Buthelezi, and we are quite comfortable with that. He's the founder of the IFP, for lack of a better term, and so there's absolutely nothing wrong going back to our roots, and to say thank you, Shenge, for actually the good work that you have actually done, and we are saying to you, giving him an assurance that the work that he started is in good hands moving forward. So there's absolutely no crisis, there's no problem. This was a collective decision driven by the president, and we are quite grateful to be under the mentorship of the founder of the party. It's opportune that is still here to manage the first transition of the party. You know, transitions are very difficult, leadership changes are very, very difficult, and so he's really in the party's activities and is an advisor and giving guidance. And so for us, it really and saying thank you, Shenge, and we're dedicating 2021 and these elections to him.
I was in fact just going to ask about the role that he still plays within the party. I know that he wanted to step back a little bit because he's also doing his own personal projects. But in this election, are you going to be seeing him come out? Is he going to be part of the campaigns when you go out to the respective communities?
Well, he has indicated that where he's required, at the behest of the party leadership and structures, he will be available. Prince Buthelezi is a team player, and so he will subject himself to the deployment that the party actually determines as and when he is required, and we appreciate that as well. But also we are giving him the space and time to focus on his other responsibilities as well, and for him to have an opportunity to assess us whether we are doing the right things or not. And so, as I'm saying, he's playing an advisory and a guidance role within the party, and South Africans really do want to hear from him. Really, there are heightened requests for him to address certain areas, but he said no, allow the party leadership to do those things, and he will work here in this. So good work on his part, and he will be available, and we're quite grateful that he is. You look at the role that he played during the riots and the looting. He came out as the elder statesman, as a voice of reason to call for calm and to be the moral conviction of the country. That kind of leadership is needed, because at the same time, if there is instability, the risks are for business and jobs. And so good leadership is part and parcel of good governance, but it's also part and parcel of economic growth, economic development, and job creation. So he's a critical factor in that space as well.
And I know that he's quite passionate. Here you are as a young person now who's leading the party, the late a member of the National Assembly, Thokozi Sinqumalo, and we're now seeing other young people that are coming out in the party. Speak to us about the youth this time, the youth representation in the selection of your candidates. How many young people are going to be standing as ward candidates for the party? And also, just to go back, your manifesto, you did say that it does touch on issues importantly that touch women, but speak to us about the issues that you feel are going to be important to address the challenges that are faced by young people.
Well, young people are an integral part of the IFP's body politic, and I once again here were quite satisfied that the interventions that were made at list committee of the prioritization of young people, because the one risk which was there was young people and may have been on the list but were at the bottom of the list in what you can term unfavorably unelectable positions. The party's interventions has been to push them up, and so you've got that diversity in the young people. The numbers will be crunched once the final lists are out, but I'm quite certain that of the 2,500, close to 40% of them are young people. We'll get the specific figures with there. On the issue of women as well and gender-based violence, yes, we need to create safety and conducive environment for living, but also at the same time, the issues of women must not be confined to gender-based violence, jobs, sustainable livelihoods, and so we're speaking to those issues as well. So the manifesto will cover all those areas, and we feel that it's broad but specific to the issues which are for the electorate this time round.
Oh, it's a pleasure speaking to you, Mr. Mkhuleko Hlengwa. Thank you so much for your time. The spokesperson of the IFP, Mkhuleko Hlengwa, of course, just taking us through today what we can expect from the party's 10-point plan that they're going to be unpacking here today as they make their promises to South Africans, what they're going to deliver should voters choose to vote for the IFP. Of course, I'm not alone here. Today's manifesto launch of the IFP, I'm joined by my colleague Simpiwe Makanya, who was outside as the leaders and supporters of the IFP continue to make their way in here to the venue. Let's cross to Simpiwe now. Simpiwe?
Well, thank you very much indeed, Ayanda. We're still stationed outside the entrance of the Greyville Racecourse. A short while ago, we saw the senior leaders of the party arriving. The provincial chairperson of the IFP, that's Mr. Thami Ntuli, being accompanied by the Deputy President, Mzamo Buthelezi, as well as the party's National Secretary, Siposethu Ngcobo. But let us not waste time and engage young people in this very crucial day for the IFP. Mr. Mabaso, thank you very much for joining us. As a young person who's leading in this structure of the youth within the IFP, are you happy with the representation of young people, especially at the local government level?
Well, I will say we are satisfied with the representation because in fact, it started in 2011 where we made a resolution to say we need 40% of the representation in all council must be young people from the IFP, and we tried to implement that, but we were not 100% successful because we had less than 100 councillors who were under the youth brigade. But this time around, we've got more than 300 candidates which belongs to the youth brigade, and we are quite happy with the progress that we have made. Hence, we have urged the young people of South Africa to help us to vote in these young candidates so that they become councillors and be the voice of young people within our communities.
Speaking about, that important vote, which is that from the young people, the youth, how is the youth brigade going to ensure that the message that you guys want to reach to the masses of this country gets there in terms of convincing people, the electorate, to vote for the IFP?
Well, we are engaging on various platforms on social media. We are doing door-to-doors on the ground. We are doing mini rallies in our constituencies. But most importantly, we are on the ground on daily basis. We are engaging with young people. We are engaging with them so that they are able to understand the importance of voting in young candidates to become councillors. So those are the activities that we have started. But also we have said our manifesto must also be able to address the issues of young people. We know local government is mostly on service delivery, but youth empowerment and participation in economic activities, we said it's one of the paramount things that must be incorporated in our manifesto, and we are expecting our president in the manifesto to speak on the youth involvement in economic activities in our local municipalities, because you will understand that there are local economic development funds that are allocated in municipalities that are run by IFP. There are youth officers which work with young people within our municipalities on daily basis in addressing the issues affecting young people. So we believe that all those programs that we have engaged on are going to assist us to reach out to young people. But what is paramount important that we need to do is to engage with them on the ground and to do door-to-door so that we are able to interact with them face to face, make them understand, because you'll will understand that most of young people, they've decided not to participate in these elections because they are saying it does not help them. Hence, we feel that we owe it to the upcoming generation to make the environment conducive for them so that when they get to the stage where we are now, they do not fight the battles that we are fighting now to have young people being involved in the economic activities of this country. So those are the things that we will be saying to young people, and those are the activities that we will be taking out to young people so that they are able to participate in these upcoming local government elections.
Your leaders have said that they want to take control of this municipality, which is eThekwini. What are the chances, though, if you look at the voting patterns, especially in this crucial metropolitan municipality? What are the chances of the IFP gaining control of this municipality?
Well, first of all, we've got a lot of young candidates at eThekwini. Our youngest candidate here is 21 years old, and he's from here at Durban Metro. And we want to reclaim back KZN, and we can't do that unless we win the Durban Metro, or we increase our vote at eThekwini Metro. So it is paramount for the IFP to increase support and to win eThekwini Metro, because you will understand it is the only metro in this province, and there are a lot of challenges. It's an economic hub of this province. So if it's in the wrong hands, then it is not going to be of a great assistance to the province of KwaZulu Natal. Hence, the IFP see a necessity now of controlling this economic hub, so that we are able to disseminate all these economic activities to the people, because they belong to the people. They don't belong to us as politicians, and we need to make sure that we allocate resources to rightful people so that at least they are able to benefit out of their taxpayers. So it is important for the people of eThekwini, it is important for the IFP to take control of eThekwini so that we are able to assist the province of KwaZulu Natal in getting more people involved in economic activities, and in making sure that we also provide services to our people. There is issue of houses here at eThekwini. There are issues of the bulk infrastructure here. Whenever it's raining, it gets floods. They don't have spaces for cemeteries. So those are all things that need leadership to take control and to engage in all those programs so that they are able to provide those services to our people. So if then the current administration at eThekwini are unable to address all those issues, then there is nothing more that we can do except to make sure that we take over this municipality so that at least we are able to assist the people of eThekwini by providing them with all those services.
Mr. Mabaso, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
That's Mr. Mlungisi Mabaso. He is the secretary of the IFP Youth Brigade there, sharing his views and also his anticipation in terms of what they as young people expect the leaders of the IFP to say in terms of launching this manifesto. And if indeed the program is going to start at 1700 this afternoon, that's the official program. And as I said earlier on, that some of the leaders, national leaders, have started arriving as well as supporters as well. That's it from us for now. We will continue obviously to be here on the ground and give you all the latest with regards to this election manifesto of the Inkatha Freedom Party. It's back to you in Johannesburg, Flo.
Thanks very much to you, Simpiwe Makanya, for us at the Greyville Racecourse at the Durban CBD, as well as Ayanda Mhlongo, who is inside the venue where that manifesto will be launched just now, in fact, at 5 p.m. By the party leader of the IFP, that's Nkosini Hlabisa. We did get some clarity from the spokesperson of the IFP, Mkhuleko Hlengwa, talking about why Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi's face has been used throughout on the election campaign material. So 5 p.m., certainly 1700 hours, the 10-point program gets underway shortly in KZN. And just news just in at the moment, and I'm sure you would have seen on the strap we just rolled at the moment, that President Cyril Ramaphosa will be addressing the nation at 8 p.m. on developments in the country's response to COVID-19 pandemic. We'll certainly be bringing that to you live here on SABC News.